All right, today on the bench we have this. This is the S&S Yeti RC Mono Brake. If you don't know anything about this guy, there are two racers, father and son kind of combo, name of Sean and Seth Van Dalen. They are the S&S and S&S times Y. So Sean and Seth basically designed this new brake system for techno nitro cars. I actually have one of these on my truck. I'm going to put one of these on my kid's nitro car and see how he likes it. This is actually, this is the second one I have. Let's get a little bit of a tour of it, right? So the idea is to eliminate two brakes, right? So on our nitro cars now, we have front and rear brakes, and they separate the drivetrain entirely, right? On electric cars, we have a single driveline, right? This is the motor. There's an electric motor, and that's it. The electric motor does the braking, it does everything. So everything's handled by that single spur that's connected to the motor pinion. Done. In nitros, we don't have brakes like that, right? We have actual, disc brakes, but they split bias front and back, so you can set front and rear bias. However, if front locks up, back's still kind of free, right? And it doesn't transfer the power as you go, right? The idea with the mono brake is that you would take and just put a single brake, a single disc on the center diff, and have the braking behave just like an electric car would. In this case, you're braking the diff and letting the front and rear diffs and the oils handle everything from there. So if something locks, power just bleeds off to another wheel, right? If the front lock up, the braking will bleed back to the rear. And so you never get locks, you never get like stoppies, none of those things, because my front brake's never going to lock and throw the car this way, and things like that. So that's kind of the idea of it. I will leave a link somewhere in later here with the website. In fact, here I'll just put it in the chat for now. Yeti. How do we chat? Yeah, don't care. Maybe if I break it out, live chat. Why can't I make a post? I can only see. I'll have to add it later. Okay. Actually, wait. Can we change it? No. Nope. Okay. Well, let's just jump right into it then. So this is the brake setup. You notice there are so there's a few things here. We have the rotor that we'll put on the center diff. This is a new diff mount that will replace the existing stock one. What's interesting about this one is that there is a groove machined into this mount that'll make clearance for the screws that'll stick out the back of the diff that hold the disc on the rotor. I'll kind of show you how it all goes together as we go, but that's the new motor mount. They do make a new top plate and the down parts of the motor mount, including the disc calipers on the inside of the diff frame, right? The diff mount. Typically these guys don't put springs on these, you'll notice, and they don't behave badly without springs, so I just leave them out. But yeah, these guys did a heck of a job putting together this solution. The last thing that they give you is, and this is nice, it's a fan, actually. And it goes over the diff. On the other side, basically, when you put your spur on the diff, you'll put this guy up against the spur and screw it in. What's nice about this is that as your diff turns, the fan obviously is pulling air and blowing it across the differential. The idea is that it would cool the differential while you're driving. What S&S say is that on a truggy, when they come off with the mono brake and the fan on, their differential without the fan came off at about 160 degrees. With the fan, the differential came off at about 130 degrees. I've noticed this myself, temping the diff before and after, and I was right about 30 degrees on a truggy. I haven't actually run this on a buggy yet. They say that the difference there is still about 30 degrees, but the buggies stay a little bit cooler, and so your diff will come off, say, at 130. With the fan, it will come off at 100. The idea with the fan is to try to eliminate any kind of fade that's associated with the oil getting thinner due to heat. So the point of all this is to try to make it a more consistent drive over the course of a long nitro main, and to have braking behave more like an electric car, less like a nitro car, and allow the oils and your differentials to do the bulk of the work instead of friction on the front, friction on the back. Just have friction in the center, everything else gets handled. Now, so let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to do is take off this top plate. You'll notice I have disconnected my throttle linkage. I'm going to disconnect the whole servo here in a second. In fact, let's do that now. I'll put that screw back in the servo just so we don't lose her. And then we can just go ahead and take this whole top plate right off. These are really long screws. Let me find my driver. Okay, so with the top plate off, the only things we're really going to need are one of these links, and we can take the other one off, and we're going to take this air filter mount off as well. And this air filter mount will screw right onto the top plate that they've provided. The new top plate. And what that looks like is well, wait a second. This one doesn't have the hole for the, let me see what's going on here. So this must be a newer one. this top plate, you cannot maybe see, has an extra bump out on the back for my, here, how do I show you? Yeah, there's a little bump out on this one for the filter. I wonder how I can, this one, since it's missing the piece, maybe I can like glue something on there or something. I'll have to figure that one out. Okay. So we'll come back to that, I guess. The one thing we will need to do is we can take these set screws off of the back of this guy, and we're going to take just the linkage, just the one linkage really. I'm going to take this one off just because I just want to get it out of the way, but it's no longer necessary. In fact, one thing we can do is just back this one all the way out. Imagine there's an easier way to do this. Is there an easier way? Because I'm just going to leave the, plastic part there. I'm just taking out the linkage, the rod. Man, I thought I'd be out of threads by now. It's still going. Where's the end of the threads? There. Okay. Just for completeness, I'll put this kind of back together and I'll leave it in the box. What we're going to do instead is, where did my throttle linkage go here? What we're going to do instead is run this guy through here, and we can rebuild this linkage from there, and we'll adjust it once we get in the car. I'll just put it out to the end for now. So that's our linkage, pretty well connected. Nothing too fancy there, right? Is this backwards? It is. Whoa, sugar. That's problematic. This is an older one, I guess. It's not designed the same as the one that I got most recently. That's right, duh. Yeah, I put it on backwards. It's my fault. My fault. Let me cut this. Cut this nice and straight. It is definitely crooked. Yeah. Okay, this should be better. Yes. 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 All right. So the other thing we need to do is to take this diff out and start to get to work on it. So these old rotors are kind of come off. We won't be needing them any longer, if they will come off. So that's your old brakes. I'll leave those aside. We are going to have to disassemble this differential because we're going to replace this spur. It's chewed up, and I'll put some fresh oil, and then we have to put the fan on the back. All right, that's pretty chewy. Let's get some paper towel. So you'll notice this car only has 3 centered planet gears. This is by design. The stock setup includes 4 planet gears. We run 3 in the middle just to kind of soften up the initial kind of hit that goes with you know, power application, right? It softens it a little bit. We run 3 gears in the center mostly. Every now and again we will put 3 gear in the front or rear, but it really depends on the track and conditions and things like that. But it does the same, it has the same effect, right? It basically just softens the hit, the power hit, right? It just softens up a little bit. Some people run 2 gears. I've never even heard of anybody running 1. I don't know how that would work, but yeah. 2 gears is something that you'll see, and 3 gears commonly. Like I said, we have a new spur. Might replace that ring and washer. We'll inspect those. I'll almost certainly replace that gasket. Yeah, it's torn. Mostly because I just tore it. We have gaskets somewhere along the wall, somewhere we've got gaskets. If not, they're in a box. Gasket. Oh, here's one. Just loose. How about that? All right. Next, we need this new spur. Let's hope it's the right one. This part number is 9419. Does it match? Appears to. Yeah. Yep. Good. All right, so this ring looks great, brand new. This car is only 8 months old, so you know, it hasn't been shredded to this point. Let's see if I can replace this bearing. See if I need to. Yeah. If I have one, I'll just replace all of these. That's not the right bearing. This might be the right bearing. Yes. These are Avid bearings. When you install them, you want the seal to face the dirt. Like that. Our washer. Our pin. What kind of oil are we going to use here? Let's go 12. 12.5. Clean up these planet gears a little bit. I'm not somebody who is super fastidious about cleaning these things. You know, it doesn't matter to me if a little bit of oil gets left from last time. I'm putting a bunch of fresh oil anyway, right? All right. And the bulk of the bad stuff is out, so, you know, I think it'll be okay. 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 One thing you can do is use a wheel wrench to hold your diff. Oh, I like to take a little bit of diff oil and put on my gasket just because it'll keep it stuck in place a little bit better. Plus, you know, it's a gasket. It needs something in there to keep it nice and soft and squishy and seal, right? So I got a little oil on there, and then I'll just stick it right where it needs to be. Line up the holes. Yeah, and that won't come off straight away, and it'll help me as I go. So these slots for the dog bones line up with the pin, and so you can kind of line up everything before you put everything down, and then go from there. Where's my driver? This one. Perfect. So from here, we've got our fresh diff, fresh spur. Now let's see about this brake. So the first thing, I'm going to take this fan, if I can get it out. And it does have two M2 screws it comes with. And so what you'll do is take this fan and push it down over your diff cup, just like that. And then you're going to find that it'll slot into the spur a little bit, such that the holes will line up. One thing I want to do is I want to put a dab of glue in each one of these holes, or each of the two that I'm going to use, right? Because sometimes these things can come a little loose. So let me put just a dab. Yeah, not much. Okay. Then we'll put that on our diff. Drop our screw. Right, so that's your diff with the fan mounted on it. And then we'll need to put the rotor, if I can get it out. Or maybe these screws need to come out. These screws are special. They're definitely different. You can see they have like a spacer behind the head. And that spacer falls into the hole in the rotor itself. Right. So from here, you're actually going to use, so these are the holes that come through the differential that you use mostly to get the oil that you might have overfilled your diff with in there. I like to put a little bit of glue on these because sometimes these don't bite all that well. Oh yeah, this one's okay, it should be fine. And this one, yeah, that one's okay too. Might have put glue for nothing. Uh-oh. That one does not appear to want to dance. There it goes. Okay. So now with that done, let's put the rotor on. The rotor actually has a cutout on the inside that is made specifically to go around the bump out on the side of the diff. So you're going to want to put that down. Okay, and then we've got more of these to go. Okay. I'm glad I put glue in there. Jeez. The glue didn't really work. Let's try it again. How come that won't bite? Just this one screw. Let's try that. It won't bite. I need something else. The threads are just coming out. Well, If I put it like this and just leave it, let it cure, then maybe that'll like make threads in there for me, maybe? Let's try that. I'm not banking on it. But yeah, in the end, your diff doesn't look like a diff much anymore. Come on. Yeah, get a bite. Please. What is the problem? Is that the problem? Is it long, the screw too long through the diff? And then if I put this screw back in, will it push the other one out? Hope not. No. No? No. Nice. Right. So now we have a mono brake set up on our rotor, or our diff. And you can kind of see how the fan pulls in the air and blows it across the disc and everything like that. Pretty nice. So from here, we're going to put our diff back in with the new mono brake setup in there. And we'll get this to line up. Ooh, do you know? One thing we did not do was replace the motor mount here. That would be a problem. No, it's not this one, it's the front one. Let's see if we can do this without taking the servo out. I don't even know if we can, but I'm gonna try. And it's the front diff mount, so it's just these two screws. Wow, that was exciting. So, can we take this guy out? Yes, we can. And we'll replace it with this one with the machined out pocket. Perfect. Might as well leave this out. These screws, oh no, they're 2.5 too, aren't they? Hmm. Okay. And the screws through the chassis. Well. Never mind. Okay, now with that, what do we do with our diff? Now we can actually go in and put the diff in. Maybe, just maybe. I just dropped the front one too, dang it. Little bind, my motor's too close. Yeah. Oh, no, it's too far. Better. Okay, so now we have this thing in here running pretty free. We don't no longer need our old top plate, no longer need our old linkage. We will need this new top plate and the linkage there. Look at that. You do have to kind of wiggle it on, as the side parts of the top plate are on a screw and they kind of are loose. It's just this single screw. Actually, we might use that for the air filter mount, and I'll just get different air filter mount. We can try that. I don't know if that's centered. We should probably verify. Welcome to Noble. Nitro, yes. Is that a tooth off? One tooth off? No, it wasn't. It was fine. Okay. Ooh, that's not good. Your endpoint's too high, buddy. Okay. Put our long screws back in the top plate. Then we'll adjust the brake. That's not the right one, dummy. These screws, you'll want to put them all the way tight and then back them off one turn. They will bind a bit if you run them all the way down and then some. I like to run that in by hand. Stronger clutch. We won't go nuts. I'll do that by hand. Okay. Let's do these by hand the rest of the way. Like I said, you put them all the way tight and then back off one turn. I think this is because when, you know, the heat, once it gets heated up and everything, then, you know, it sort of swells, I think. I'm not sure. So now let's set our brake. That's nowhere even close. I want to go, let's see. So, see now, once we lock the brakes, how can I demonstrate this? Just put my screwdriver there to hold the brake for me. Now, if I hold this back left, and I turn the front right, even though my brakes are locked, you can see my front wheels turning now, right? Nice. And then without brakes, there's a little bind, but that should run in. And that might be due to mesh as well. I find it interesting that the chassis flexes. Oopsie, we're spilling nitro everywhere. Gosh, sorry. I didn't realize that wasn't connected any longer. Jeez. Sorry, car. It'll dry up, right? Oh, we only changed one bearing. Oopsie. I'll have to come back and do that another time. All right. Now we have to set this mesh. It doesn't sound good. So I like to loosen these screws except for one. Oops, not this one. Dummy. That's our motor, our fuel tank mount. Alright. So right, yes. I like to take and have one of these screws loose and the other one, I'm sorry, all of the screws loose except for one that's kind of snug. And I usually like to keep the one that's closest to the mesh. This one. I'm gonna jam it all the way in there. Then I'm gonna come back and we'll loosen it up some. This is really tight. And that is too loose. It's like a tad of play. Right there. Yeah. Let's see if that works. So we'll tighten that screw that I left tightest. Check the mesh. Nice tick. And then we'll tighten down the rest. And check it again. These crank down. They have Loctite on them. These screws do not come off without your permission, or else your race ends. So let's check the mesh and then I'll really crank them down. Nice little click. Okay. Nice. I'll walk this back just a hair. Or I could, yeah, this way. Yeah. Nice. That's that pretty well done. The only thing I need to do now is go and get a new air filter mount that has like a gooseneck that goes this way instead of this one that just has an elbow this way. The one that I'm thinking of, it comes this way and then this way, so the air filter sits here. I'll see if I have one in the shop. All right, everybody, that's the S&S Mono Brake installed. Nice and easy, pretty painless. I had to do a bit of extra work because my spur was shot and that needed to be replaced. Other than that, nice simple install. We'll get it tuned in, you know, on the track, drive and set our brakes right and everything like that. But so far so good. Everything looks nice and easy. Yeah. So that's it. for this one. Stay tuned for the next. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll catch up with you later. Thank you.